One of the things I wanted to run by you was like, there's sort of the acute stressors of working in this field, right? So that's like responding to an accident, a car accident where, you know, there's dead bodies, or domestic violence calls, or homicides, or or being in active combat even. So those are kind of the acute stressors. I think most people, when they think about being a first responder, they recognize that that's part of the job, right? What else might be contributing to some of this depression, anxiety, PTSD, et cetera, that isn't as on the surface as those issues?
Great question. I mean, you have to really kind of take a step back in retrospect and look at, where do you come from? What was it like growing up? What impact did your family have on you? Was there mental illness in your family? You know, life doesn't discriminate, as you know. It's kind of like a roulette wheel. When is your number coming up? Because it's somebody's number's coming up. We all wrestle with something. I think what happens is, you know, this has been my experience. I don't think you realize the extent and the consequence of the career that you're getting involved in. You know, you mentioned something about dead bodies and this. You know, we don't think that's what we're going to deal with.
Right.
You know, I remember one of the first cases I dealt with. A police officer responded to a fatal car accident where the car bursted into flames with 4 people in it. And the screams that crash scene and the nightmares that officer had to deal with, and the helplessness of not being able to help at that particular scene. Or the mother who walks into the backyard and finds her 3 or 4-year-old drowned in the pool. I mean, there's that's not what you think of when you're thinking about becoming a first responder, but yet that's what you're dealing with. And if you don't address those issues, I mean, think about, you know, I think one of the statistics for first responders is they're probably going to be exposed to maybe 500 traumatic events in their career. I mean, that's insanity to think that you know, talk about being resilient. You need to learn how to be resilient to be able to deal with that. So in answer to your question, I don't even know if I really legitimately answered it, but, you know, we, as human beings, I think we wrestle. I think part of the first responder community is we forget they're human beings. You know, they put these uniforms on, they wear a lot of masks, you know, they think they're invincible until they're not. And then there's a chink in the armor and it's like, oh my God, how did this happen?
Yeah.
What do I do now?
Well, in response to you either answering or not answering the question, I think part of it sounds like, is sort of the cumulative effect of all this stuff. Like you can kind of conceptualize responding to one scene like that where there's something horrible that's happened, and then, you know, the trauma that you kind of take on from that. Right. But imagine doing that day after day after day after day.
And that's what happens. That's what happens, especially in the firefighter community. You know, it's one thing to fight fires. Now they're faced with dealing with medical calls. So, and the medical calls have gotten to the point where it's out of hand. I mean, it's really ridiculous, the amount of medical calls that they respond to. So they're constantly being exposed to it. And during COVID, and I mean, it's been challenging, to say the least.
Yeah, of course.
And to be able to thrive in that environment. And the only way you can do that is if you learn how to take care of yourself. And so if you're not willing to talk about that last call or that, you know, the next call, it's not going away. I can tell you that.
One of the values that I think the social work field in general has, right, is that we place a high value on being culturally competent, right? Diversity, cultural competence, all important values in the social work field. I guess I'm curious, for this population, is there a way that you think the field could be more culturally competent when it comes to working with first responders?
Absolutely. Number one, you need to learn the language. There's a certain language in law enforcement, in military, in fire service, and you need to learn that. If you're afraid of guns and you're afraid of somebody coming in your office with a sidearm, you're in the wrong field, okay? Because if you're asking a police officer to not come in your office with a weapon, they'll probably respect that, but I can guarantee you won't see them again. If you lie to them or minimize what's going on with them, you're going to lose them. They respect the truth, as painful as it is. Don't bullshit them. They have a built-in bullshit meter. They know. They read people. They study people. So you're interviewing them. Well, you better believe they're interviewing you too.
Yes.
So it's a reciprocal
Yes.
process there. So, that's, there's some really good reads out there that can help you. Off the top of my head, one of the books escapes me, but there is a book out there that speaks to clinicians working within the law enforcement community. You have a responsibility to learn the culture you're dealing with, and not at the expense of your client. It's not, I think what we've heard so many times is the therapist is more interested in hearing stories about what the first responder's going through
interesting.
than actually why are you here? And so they kind of sense that, and if you can't handle the disclosure of what they tell you,
Good point.
that's another issue. That, I got to take care of you too now.
Right. Good point.
So you really need to be on top of your game. I mean, I honestly believe that not everybody is cut out to deal with first responders. And that's okay. But those that are, you have a responsibility to bring your best version into the office. It's not about you. It's about what you can do to help them.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that, to be honest with you.
Well said.
And it's not about politics either. That has to, you can't bring that in the room either. So if someone has a different perspective on things and that's going to offend you, you're in the wrong field.
Well said. I'm curious what motivates you to keep doing what you're doing.
I love what I do. I don't know why I get emotional sometimes. It's like, I know what it did for me. I know that in my darkest moment, someone extended a hand. And that hand is what pulled me through and put me where I am today. And I'm extremely grateful for that. It's a privilege to do what I do. It's an honor for me to sit in a room with you and for you to bare your soul to me.
Exact same way. Yeah.
And you fill my tank. I can't get caught up on, the bureaucratic issues that surround a lot of what we do. I focus more on, I have a purpose. I know what my purpose is. My purpose is to help you get to where you need to go so that you can have a rewarding life. At the end of the day, the conversation you have with the person in the mirror is probably the most important conversation you're going to have. So, are there some days where, I really need to kind of take a step back and say, why am I doing this? I know why I'm doing it. I motivate myself. That is the one gift that I've been given, having been in recovery and doing what I'm doing. I don't need you or the hospital to motivate me. I know how to motivate myself.
Well, it sounds like you motivate yourself, but also the clients you work with motivate you.
Absolutely. It's a reciprocal process.
Yes.
It's kind of like, I can't tell you how many times I'd leave a situation and just in hindsight and reflect how grateful I am to be where I am and see where they are, because I've been there.
Every night on my way home from clinical work.
I can't tell you how many times I was grateful for the marriage that I had after I did couples therapy. It was like, and if you've done couples therapy, you understand what I'm saying. It's like, so it's a privilege, it really is, but a major responsibility.
Well, and that's
another really important piece.
I was going to ask you, you said when you were in that place, somebody reached a hand out to you.
My
and
cousin, actually.
Your cousin. And now it sounds like you're that hand, right? So
Yeah.
I guess I'm just wondering what that experience is like, because it sounds like a lot of responsibility.
Right. Well, being a clinician, you understand, we do groups, and, sometimes self-disclosure is really important to help the client. Other times it's not appropriate because
Yes.
it's really not about you.
Right.
But sometimes just sharing where you've been and how you've gotten to where you are really kind of instills a level of hope to someone who's in the pits of despair. I often say, I read something a long time ago that really kind of I embrace, I use. Actually, the book was "The Dragon Doesn't Live Here Anymore," and it's one of the things it said in that book that said, if there truly is a devil, he masquerades in fear, worry, and self-doubt, and robs us of our God-given talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Fear, worry, rob us of being able to kind of really share what I'm going through, because I'm more concerned with what you can do to hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm at a point, Andy, honestly, I've shared my life. It is what it is. If you're going to hurt me, you're going to hurt me. Actually, you're not, because I'm not in that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I could care less, to be honest with you.
Yes.
And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I'm pretty comfortable with who I am.
I have a magic wand.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a chance to say anything you want to all the first responders out there.
Wow.
What would you say?
That's a really big responsibility and question.
Well, I'm not really giving you a magic wand. So.
I know you're not. The fear of what you think is behind the door of getting help is an illusion. If you change the way you think about what's behind the door to getting help and becoming the best version of you, and you're willing to take that step and open that door, I can assure you that what you think is behind that door that's stopping you is really not there. It lies between your ears. We often say fear is false evidence appearing real.
Mm-hmm.
So I can create a nightmare in my own head if I wanted to. I often say if we were in a room by ourselves, we could have a fight.
Yeah.
So we have that capability. So I would say to them that, you know what, whatever you think is going to happen is probably not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Take the risk. What have you got to lose?
Mm-hmm. Awesome. With that, I'm going to let you go. I could talk to you for probably the rest of the day. But thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.